All right, welcome back, good people. Well, thus far this week, I've talked about phobias, I've talked about fear, and this video I'm going to talk about what are thoughts. Right, those things that pop into your head and you wonder, why am I thinking that? Or how is that working for me? Right? Can I focus and stay focused? Is that possible for me? Because many people have difficulty staying focused, right? I think because we're in such a multitasking type of world that many of us feel like we need to do more than one thing at a time. I'm that way to a certain degree. I have a lot of things going on all the time. So I'm kind of like always making certain that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, right? Because I feel that that's my responsibility as the CEO of this company. But guess what? That's the way you will have to look at your small business as well, right? Because you can't rely on other people to do what you need to do for your system. That's just not going to work because people will let you down. And guess what? If you don't do it, you are letting you down. That is what's happening in your world. You have to be responsible. That's why a lot of people don't sign up to be an entrepreneur. Although entrepreneur is the only way you can actually become extremely wealthy extremely quickly and doing what you love. That's possible today. That's one of the shifts that a lot of people are having a problem with understanding today, simply because they've always been taught to go to school, get a good education, get a job, work on a job for 30 or 40 years, retire and live happily ever after. Well, that's changed. It's no longer that way. And from the baby boomers backwards, if you're a baby boomer, you know who I'm talking about. Baby boomers backwards, that's not going to work for them. Because statistically, it's just, one, the jobs are not there any longer. The types of jobs are not there any longer. And companies are being bought and sold so frequently that, a lot of times your longevity on that job is not going to be, that long anymore, like 25 or 30 years. And then, things are becoming more privatized to where, it's up to the owner to decide to give you a pension, right? And being an entrepreneur, you automatically going to make sure you look out for yourself, right? Because one day you do plan to retire, whether you're a business owner or whether you're someone who worked 30 or 40 years and retired. One day you're going to want to just kind of do what you want to do from here on out, right? And that is one of the ways you can start your business. One of the businesses that I help people set up are consulting businesses. That consulting business is based on what you know already or what you would like to know. Now, if you would like to, let's say, learn about photography, people will want to know about different types of cameras, about different types of things to do with photography. You becoming an expert on that because of your knowledge and expertise allows you to charge people to get that information. Yes, that's possible today. People do it all the time, and that's what I want you to consider. So with this video, I'm going to talk quickly. This is another one page about your thoughts. Now this kind of goes a little deeper than just the surface, right? So bear with me. I do like to share information that sometimes is kind of out of the box. Maybe you know some of this, maybe you don't. But either way, I'm going to share it with you. It says, what are thoughts? An idea or opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. Thoughts can be idea-like, memory-like, picture-like, or song-like. We all experience thoughts and have no problem identifying them and speaking about them to others. What are thoughts made of? Sugar and spice? Not. What are thoughts made of? Thoughts are made of, they're really just electrochemical reactions, but the number of complexity of these reactions make them hard to fully understand. The human brain is composed of about 100 billion nerve cells, neurons interconnected by trillions of connections called synapses. Told you it was going to be a little deep, right? What is the power of thought? Mind power is one of the strongest and most useful powers you possess. This power consists of your thoughts. The thoughts that pass through your mind are responsible for everything that happens in your life. Your predominant thoughts influence your behavior and attitude and control your actions and reactions. What is the process of thinking? Thought, also called thinking, the mental process in which beings form psychological associations and models of the world. Excuse me. Thinking is manipulating information, as when we form concepts, engage in problem solving, reason, and make decisions. Thought, the act of thinking, produces thoughts. What are the types of thinking? Types of thinking can be divided into several opposing categories: concrete thinking versus abstract thinking, convergent thinking versus divergent thinking, creative thinking versus analytical thinking, sequential linear thinking versus holistic thinking. How many thoughts do you have in a day? Here we discovered and opened the many gifts of our relationship. When we have between 50 and 70,000 thoughts per day, this means between 35 and 48 thoughts per minute per person. The steady flow of thinking is a thick filter between our thoughts and feelings, our head and heart. How many negative thoughts do you have per day? We humans, it seems, have anywhere from 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day, as I mentioned earlier. But according to some researchers, as many as 98% of them are actually the same as we had the day before. Talk about creatures of habit, right? Even more significant though, 80% of our thoughts are negative. You heard me, 80%. Wow, that's a high number, isn't it? Okay, finally, what percentage of our thoughts are unconscious? According to cognitive neuroscientists, we are conscious of only about 5% of our cognitive activity. So most of our decisions, actions, emotions, and behavior depends on the 95% of the brain activity that goes beyond our conscious awareness. Now, when I read that the first time, I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting for some people, right? Like someone like myself, I'm really interested in stuff like that, especially the part about 80% of our thoughts are negative, right? So think about this, if 80% of your thoughts are negative and you're in a negative environment, that's gonna, or you have people that talk to you negatively, that's going to raise that number to 90 or maybe 95% of the things that you take in are negative. So you know as well as I know that when you think negative or when you are in a negative mode, that doesn't bring fruitful results. That's not how that works. It works the opposite, So you want to think positively. You want to surround yourself with positive things. You want to do things that you can get positive results from, right? You want to set goals that are accomplishable, right? Attainable. Not too easy, but you want to set goals that you can do. They're going to stretch you to get them done, but you still want to get them done. You don't want to do things like, let's say, be like my height, 5'5", and play center in the NBA. That's not going to happen. Come on, now, you got to be realistic too, right? That's not how that works. So, thinking about how life is and how we go through things, the reason I created that video or that little segment was because we think about things before we take action, right? And a lot of the things that we take action on or don't take action on is regulated by the fear that we have, right? That's why I created the other video about fear. Now, fear and phobias are kind of like interchangeable, but just because you have a fear of something doesn't mean that that's going to stop you from going past that bridge to get to what you want to. You simply have to be more creative, right? If there's a snake right there and you need to go over there, you need to figure another way to get there. But you still need to get there, right? If you're afraid of snakes, like myself, right? So just remember that what you want, you can attain. You simply have to identify any fears that you have and take action on what you know based on, the fears, so that you don't allow that to hold you back, right? Because when we allow fear to hold us back, what happens is that it causes us to never be able to attain the things that we want to attain, because we will stop ourselves. You don't have to tell me that I can't do that, because I'm telling myself I can't do that. I see that all the time, people. First thing I suggest to you that you do, the first response you have is, I can't do that. Never tried it, don't know if you could, but I can't do that. And guess what? That becomes a fulfilling prophecy, right? If you say you can't enough, you won't be able to do it. That's why it's so difficult to become an entrepreneur, because somewhere along that road you're going to say, I can't do this. Somewhere along that road others are going to tell you, you can't do that, right? And you're going to buy into that. But if you don't buy into it and you believe that you can do it, and you keep being around people who are doing that, you're going to pick up little rules and little traits and little systems and little processes that's going to increase your confidence, right? You're going to begin to know you can do it. And that's where I want to take you. That's where I want you to be. And you can do that, and I can help. My name is Larry James. My company is Speaker Larry, and I'll see you on the next video.